Hello, sir. We are delighted to embark your presence, one of the members of APSA, on the inauguration of the very first podcast conducted by Alva Public School on the occasion of 47th Founders Day.
So it's always a pleasure to see any of the alumni visit to the school again and return to their roots. So today, as our guest, we have Mr. Rishabh Sanghi. And sir, would you please like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Thank you so much, Bhavika and Sarah, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to come back to school. So I passed out in 2004 from the commerce stream, and I was in APS for 15 years. After which I graduated from Delhi University, and since then I've been in business for 15 years. So I think that is pretty much about me.
Well, I would like to tell more. He is a second generation entrepreneur. He completed his graduation from Delhi University in marketing from Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies. He worked for a few years at a research and analytics firm.
And we would like to add some couple points, sir. Sir is also a very passionate driver and he loves to listen to music. In fact, he used to sing when he used to be a student here.
Okay. So, in the studio next to me, we have Sarah Sodi, who's from 12th Humanities,
And to my right, we have Bhavika Lamba from class 12 Science.
and we are the hosts for today's podcast.
Yes. So, sir, first question that I would like to ask you is can you tell me about your family? Because we would love to know your journey from being a student here to growing as a successful businessman and being a family guy now.
So we have a very small family. There are five members in the family. My parents, my father is a businessman, my mother is an organic farmer, and my wife is an interior designer. We've been married for 10 years, and I have a younger sister. She's also passed out from Alvar Public School, and she's based out of Bombay, and she's working in the social service sector.
Wow, that sounds lovely, sir, and that certainly sounds like a group of very accomplished people. And today we have gathered here to talk about our own family here at APS that's very much like a close knit community. Here we have our students, our Narayan Sevaks, the faculty, and the teachers who all are here and they support each other very much so.
Okay, so my next question to you is how does it feel to return back to your school? Like seeing the students play, learn in the classrooms, and especially stand in the line of the canteens eating samosas? Looking back, is there anything that you wish that you would have done differently during your school days?
So honestly speaking, I am still very much connected to the school. I try and use every opportunity to come back to the school. Every couple of months I'm here. So it is always such a pleasure to see the students in the corridor playing, meet my old teachers. Most of the Narayan Sevaks and the support staff which was there during my time, now they would have retired or they would have moved on in their lives. But we still have a few people. We have Ghansham Bhaiya, we have Ashok Bhaiya. I don't know if Santra Maiji is still there, but she used to be there when I was a toddler here. So it's always a pleasure coming back. What was your second question? Sorry.
That is there anything that you would have done differently during your school days?
Uh, I think I should have been a little more naughty. I was a very simple kid. I was almost like a teacher's pet. Now I feel that I should have been a little more naughty, played some pranks on my friends and my teachers. I really miss doing that.
Yeah. That certainly sounds like it must be a little bit overwhelming to see people grow at this place. So, the second question that we have for you is did you maintain any friendships or connections from your school days? How have those relationships evolved, and what role do you think the school's community played in your personal development?
So most of my close friends are those that I made in school. I have a very close group of some 8 or 10 friends. All of them are from APS. We meet very often, probably once or twice a week. We go out. So it is not just us, but our families also now are very mingled with each other and have a good time. APS definitely has played a huge role in my life, and I think whatever I am today, whatever I have achieved over the last 35, 40 years is because of Alwar Public School, the education that I got here, not just academics, but also I think early on when I was in school some 20 years back, at that point of time, the role of education beyond academics was a little limited. If we talk about extracurriculars, there was not so much focus on extracurriculars how we see today. So I think the exposure to extracurricular, had it been some other school, I'm not sure how much I would have got. But definitely being a part of the APS family, I got that exposure. And I'd like to share with you that once I passed out of school, I went to Delhi University for my graduation. Not for a single day I felt that there was some sort of exposure that I lacked. Definitely, the people in Delhi were more outspoken, they were more open. I was a little reserved. But other than that, I think APS gave me a tremendous amount of exposure, which lifelong I'd be indebted towards APS.
Yeah.
That sounds really lovely because we have always heard that school friendships last longer than any sort of ones. And that is very sweet to hear about your friends and how even the families are mingled now. So, my next question is, you might be knowing about the educational trips that we have in APS. So, last year, Sarah and I went to a trip to Triund. And on the day of the trek, it was a T20 match of India versus New Zealand. So, seeing the firecrackers was just so fun and amazing. So, do you have any sort of experiences of trips of school or college?
So I went to quite a few trips. I think the first trip, the so-called educational trip, was quite early. I think it was in class fourth or fifth. We'd gone on a trip to Rajasthan. Um I think it was I think towards Ajmer and the Harappa
Yeah, yeah.
civilization. So that's the first memory that I have of the trip. But after that, there were trips to Saurashtra. There was trip to Manali. I think the Manali trip was the most memorable for me. I think I was in class ninth or 10th, and we had a wonderful time. It was a camping trip, a week long camping trip. We had taken our tents, we had taken our backpacks. There were slopes of Kolaba. I think there's a place called Kolaba near Manali. That is where we pitched our tents and we slept a couple of nights in tents. So it was a fantastic trip. I think we still have such fond memories, and whenever our friends meet, we definitely think about that trip and we joke about that trip.
I think that sort of experience we will be the ones sharing in a couple years.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. So the next question that we have. So during your schooling, what were your most beloved extracurricular activities to partake in? Do you think exploring your interests and hobbies at that time in a holistic manner gave you the insight about the practical world?
I think they are extremely important and extremely crucial. As I said earlier, I was thankful to APS to have given me those opportunities. When I was in school, I was quite passionate about music. So, yes, there was a small music society which I was a part of. I was not so much as a vocalist as I was an instrumentalist. I used to play the harmonica. I used to play the march past school drums. I also used to play the tabla. So, yes, music was one of the most important extracurricular activities in school. But other than that, I always used to take the opportunity to participate in debates. I was very fond of drama, so I participated in a lot of skits and plays as well. And I was never good at sports, but whenever given an opportunity, I used to definitely play sports. At our point, when we were in school, then football used to be the main sport of the school. We did not have such lovely badminton courts or tennis courts. So yes, I used to really enjoy football, and especially when it was raining, we used to always try and sneak out of the classroom and go and play out in the fields.
Wow, that sounds really amazing. So, recently our school has developed a lot. So, I am a part of the MUN Debate and Theatre Society. So, it has given me so much opportunities that whenever I go to Delhi, Jaipur, or any other NCR place, I never feel that I am left out because of the opportunities the school has given to us.
Yeah, and apart from these activities, we also have like a SDG club. So it's a sustainable development club, and we do different activities like raising awareness about our environment. And then we have the e-focus magazine that's been releasing from a couple years after COVID. So definitely our school has grown, the infrastructure has changed, that you might have noticed as well.
Yes, a lot.
And yeah, it has. Apart from these, we also have student initiative clubs. So some of them are like helping hands and equal voices. So it's totally led by the students, and the teachers are there to help us. So definitely there are students who are growing into their own thing, who are adapting to the changing environment. And 20 years ago this might have been different, but now APS has adapted to the modern world. And like Bhavika remarked, students from APS are very well aware about the recent technologies and the different educational methods.
Okay, so let's move forward. We are going to play the game Never Have I Ever.
Oh no.
So if you
Yes.
have done the thing, then you have to say I have, and if you haven't, then you'll say we haven't. And we might even ask you to share your experiences.
Okay, let's go for it.
So the first question that we have is, never have I ever pulled an all-nighter to study for a major exam before like not studying at all for it. Have you ever
I
done
always
that?
have. I always
Same,
have.
even I
Yeah.
have.
I never pre-prepared for an exam. I think at the 11th hour I used to start preparing for it. So always.
So can you share like a particular experience related to it?
Mm. So I can share an experience of class 12th. This was a commerce accountancy assignment that me and my very close friend had to do. And both of us were very competitive. So while being very good friends, we also used to compete with each other. Who would do the assignment first, or who would be able to come out with the correct answer first. So for this particular assignment, the two of us thought that we'll pair and we'll do this assignment together. And then there were other people in the class who were working on various other assignments. So his name is Mayank. So Mayank and I, we took live data of a live company. We took its financials, and this assignment was to match the balance sheet and also make the P&L for this organization. So I think he and I, we spent 2 sleepless nights, and school friends spending 2 sleepless nights trying to work on an assignment. We also were watching movies on the sidelines of it. And there were pizza parties and Maggie parties, all of that happening. So I think that was a really, really fun assignment, which I can think about right now.
That sounds very interesting and fun, to be honest. So, in the recent years, there's a trend going on about the smart work. So, people say that you should do smart work rather than the hard work. What is your take on this?
I think smart work is extremely important, but it cannot be a substitute to hard work. Only after having worked hard at a certain thing, you would know of smarter ways of doing that thing in a lesser time or in a much more efficient manner. So I would definitely say that yes, it is important to work smart, specifically in this age, which is so fast and which is so dynamic. But there is no two ways about whether you have to work hard or not. Everybody has to work hard, but over the years, with experience, you learn to also work smart.
Yeah.
Thank you for the amazing answer. Because even me and Sarah, we literally spent sleepless nights writing scripts,
Yeah.
one or the another. So, now the question is, never have I ever faked a stomach ache to sit in the clinic.
Again, always.
I have. Have
So-
you?
I guess I have. I
And-
mean, I would just roam around sometimes.
And especially to skip a test.
So I used to fake headaches or stomach aches mostly either to skip school, and even if my mom pushed me into coming to school, then to skip assemblies, I used to always try and fake some aches or pains or some reasons I used to give for not attending the assemblies.
Being in 12th, I would say that it has become very hard to do or use that excuse.
Yes, of course. In the earlier age, in the lower classes, it is much simpler to do it. But as you mature, as you grow, it becomes difficult. And specifically when you are the head girl and the vice head girl, I'm sure that you cannot use those excuses, because then how will you catch hold of your other friends who are faking it?
Yeah.
Right.
So the next question is, never have I ever eaten my tiffin before the recess.
Oh no, lots of times. Lots of times. I can share with you that I'm a very fussy eater, and there were very limited things that I used to have in school from my tiffin. Over the 15 years of having studied in APS, I think there are only two or three things that kept repeating every day. That was all that I got used to get for my lunch. So I was very particular about it. And my friends, they knew that I would not have other things. So to tease me, they used to try and sneak my tiffin out of my bag, and they used to try and have it before me. So I used to make sure that I have my tiffin before the recess bell rings, so that I don't eat hungry, or I don't remain hungry, or I don't have to eat their bhindis and other green vegetables.
That's funny, actually. Okay, so our next question is, never have I ever felt terrified to speak on the stage, but did it anyways.
So I've never been terrified to speak on the stage. I've always been a stage person, but stage fright has always been there. I have
Okay.
been nervous about being on the stage. I've had jitters, I've had sweaty palms. Um, but yes, I've always loved to be on the stage. I've loved to be in front of people, loved to speak, loved to present, loved to express. That has always been there.
Do you want to share something to the audience and the listeners about how to overcome stage fear?
Hmm. I think you just need to believe in yourself. You are going out there for yourself and not for somebody else. You are going out there because you have yourselves to prove that you have it in you, what it takes to be on the stage and express. So I think if you are doing it for yourself, then that fright, that fear, it might not be as much. I always try to prep myself that I need to do my thing. So I'm going to just go there, say my lines, express, and then everything should be all right. So that has worked for me. Probably that might also work for a few of the others.
Yeah. So the you versus you mentality, it's a very good thing that all students should adapt because it like helps you to grow in a way that is unparalleled because the only person you are competing to is yourself. And that's something that the students at APS also try to learn. So moving on, we have a couple serious questions for you. During your school days, who were the teachers who taught and helped you? Are you still in contact with them? Would you like to say something about them?
So it is difficult to name a few teachers because I think right from nursery to class 12, there were so many teachers who played such a crucial part in my life and in my journey. To name a few, I'd like to say that I think most of the kids out of APS know of Bakshi ma'am. Bakshi ma'am in our very young toddler years when we joined nursery, she was the one, and for most of my friends and most of the people who were in APS at that time, they very fondly remember Bakshi ma'am because she was the one who used to wait for us and get us to school and then take care of us for most of the day. Then there was Renu ma'am. Renu Goel ma'am, of course, was one of my first teachers, and it gives me immense pleasure to see that she is still in school and she meets me so fondly. Uh, and then over the years, I had in English I had Madhumita ma'am, Kulwant ma'am, Usha ma'am. In Hindi I had Bali ma'am, Kochar ma'am, Matharu ma'am. Then science, Mukta ma'am, Rachna ma'am, Rachna Katpalia ma'am. Then towards the end of the school, Pukas sir, Verma sir, they used to take our maths classes. Renu Mathur ma'am used to take our accountancy and business studies classes. Economics was taken by Seema Saini ma'am. So I'd say that I'm in touch with almost all of those teachers, barring a couple of them. But very, very fond memories of each one of them, and I think all of them played a tremendous part in my journey so far. And as I say for APS, I also say for them that I'll always remain indebted to the contributions that they've had in my life.
It sounds like you have formed lovely relationships with the teachers here and the wonderful memories that you have shared with us. It's gonna teach us to also appreciate our teachers more.
Even like school without teachers is nothing, because they are like the support system for all of us, because they help us throughout our journey, whether we are dull, whether we are average, or whether we are toppers. They treat us unbiasedly and just help us out, and like I can't be more thankful to them. So, the next question is, the past few years, we have certainly seen rapid changes and developments in educational methods and schooling experiences, which many alumni often remark upon. So, what hopes and aspirations do you have for the future of APS?
So I'm not very well aware of what the latest education system is because I've not been a part of it for the last 20 years. But what I'm aware is that our point of time, school and teachers was everything for us. That was the main source of education and learning and knowing new things, different things. Yes, we used to have books that we could rely on, but in terms of digital content, there was hardly any. The uh, computers and digitization had just kicked in, so there was nothing much for us to learn there. But now, kids now have such vast information at their fingertips that it might so happen that the school or the teachers, there's so much more beyond that a student can learn from, that one might not fully appreciate the contribution that a school would make or a teacher would make. So I really hope that somewhere this hybrid model of being physically available at a school and learning from your teachers and from your peers, and the model of self learning, where you have digital content, you have internet, you have books, where you are free to venture out and explore as much as you want. So I think there has to be a right balance between both school learning as well as self learning. uh, it is my feeling, I'm not sure, it is only an assumption, that right now students might tilt a little towards digital learning and self learning because there is plethora of information, and I don't blame the kids because there's so much to learn. Kids are so inquisitive that they want to explore as much as possible. But I think if we are able to strike the right balance between school and self, it will be great.
Thank you. That was like a very thoughtful answer, because I even think that the hybrid model and the digital model should strike a balance, because the school buildings, the physical learning cannot be simply just
Yeah,
changed
it cannot
and
be replicated because the
yes.
memories that you form here, that is something that will stay longer than anything else.
Else we would have all enjoyed during the lockdown.
Yes.
We didn't. We wanted to
Yeah.
come back to school.
So now we have a very important question. The school canteen has been here for many years, serving its mouth-watering snacks and its famous samosa. So, of course, how can we end our segment without asking you this? Have you ever lost a bet with your friend, or have you ever made your friend treat you to a samosa or like any other food canteen?
So one doesn't need an excuse to have school samosa. I think during the school and even after school, we used to use every opportunity to come back to school and have samosas. Yes, there were bets, there were parties, there were challenges, there were treats. Uh, and at our point of time, I think we only had a couple of things in the canteen. We used to have the samosa and probably the patties. But now I hear that there's a good long menu that you guys can choose from. But yes, school samosas are to die for, and even today, I think after we get over, I might get treated to some samosas.
Yeah, we see all the alumni come back and they always crave a samosa.
So, our next question is, sir, you have shared some truly thought provoking words. But the one thing that I want you to share is that, is there any particular message that you wish to share with the listeners tuning into this podcast right now?
So I think I've shared a lot of things for listeners to take away from. But honestly speaking, I don't think I'm an authority or I'm not the best person to get that advice from. But one thing which I can definitely share, which I thought that I should have done better when I was in school, was to read read a bit more. So I used to read, but I was never an avid reader. I think that is one trait or characteristic that every individual should develop. At this age now, I'm trying to rekindle my interest in books and trying to read as many books as possible. I think books is something which everybody should definitely start reading if they've already not started doing so.
Thank you. So it has always been said that if you live your life, then if you're reading books, you can live thousands of different lives
Correct.
in different characters.
Correct.
So moving to the end of our podcast, I would like Sarah to please move
Yeah.
forward.
So, at the end of our podcast, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the principal, Mr. Pradeep Naruka, and our teacher, Mrs. Ritika Chakravarti, whose encouragement has made this podcast possible. We are also thankful for Aman Sir, who has shot this podcast with us. And a very sincere thank you goes out to our guest who has starred in the first ever podcast of APS, Mr. Rishabh Sanghi. Thank you, sir, for taking precious time out of your schedule to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I'd also like to wish all listeners and everybody in school a very happy 47th Founders Day. I really hope that the school and the students and everybody associated with it reaches greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.